It started with the hum, a low, almost imperceptible vibration that seemed to settle in my skull late at night when the world was quiet. At first, I thought it was the fridge or the heating system in my old apartment, a quirk of living in a pre-war building. But after a few nights, I realized the hum wasn't coming from anywhere external. It was in the silence itself, in the spaces between sounds, like a hidden frequency just out of reach. I didn't think much of it at first. Weird things happen when you're overtired, and I was working long hours at the firm. I chalked it up to stress and kept pushing through. But then it started changing. The hum began to pulse, faintly at first, then with a rhythmic insistence, like a heartbeat. Sometimes it sped up or slowed down, as if it were responding to my thoughts. And then, one night, it spoke. I was laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to ignore the pulsing vibration in my ears when I heard it, a faint whisper layered over the hum. "We see you." My breath caught. It wasn't words exactly, but the impression of them pressed into my brain like an echo. I sat up, scanning the room, but nothing was there. The shadows were still, the streetlights casting their usual yellow glow through the curtains. I told myself it was a trick of the mind, sleep paralysis maybe. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The whisper felt real, tangible in a way that left my chest tight with dread. Over the next few nights, the whispers grew more distinct. They didn't speak in sentences, just fragments, disjointed thoughts that sent shivers down my spine. "Closer now. Always watching. You shouldn't look." I stopped sleeping. The hum followed me everywhere. At work, in the shower, even in the noisy streets of the city. It was always there, just beneath the surface, like a second heartbeat. And then I started seeing them. It was subtle at first, a flicker of movement in the corner of my eye, gone before I could turn my head. A dark shape that lingered too long in my peripheral vision. But they grew bolder, closer. One night as I was brushing my teeth, I caught sight of it in the bathroom mirror. A figure standing just behind me, its outline indistinct, like a smudge of darkness against the air. I spun around, but the room was empty. When I looked back in the mirror, it was gone. I tried everything: white noise machines, sleeping pills, even soundproofing my bedroom. Nothing worked. The hum persisted, growing louder, more insistent. The whispers became a constant drone, their fragmented words weaving into a tapestry of dread. "Why did you notice? Too late to stop. They're coming." One night, I snapped. I screamed into the empty room, demanding that they leave me alone. The hum stopped. For the first time in weeks, there was silence. Real, absolute silence. I should have felt relief, but instead, a cold dread settled over me. The silence was wrong, heavier than the hum had ever been. It pressed against my ears, my chest, my thoughts. And then from the silence, a single whisper. "Turn around." I don't know what made me do it. Maybe curiosity, maybe terror, maybe some primal instinct to obey. I turned. The room was empty, but the air wasn't. It shimmered, distorted as if something enormous was pressing against the fabric of reality, trying to break through. The hum returned, deafening now, vibrating in my bones. Shadows writhed in the corners, stretching toward me like smoke tendrils. And then I saw it. The space between the sounds. The gap I hadn't even realized existed wasn't empty. It was full of them. Shapes, hundreds of them, twisting and folding into themselves, watching me from the impossible void. Their forms were incomprehensible, a fractal nightmare that burned itself into my brain. They weren't supposed to be seen. I wasn't supposed to know. "We're here." I don't remember much after that. I woke up on my living room floor, the morning sun streaming through the windows. The hum was gone, replaced by the usual sounds of the city: cars honking, people shouting, a dog barking somewhere down the block. For a moment, I thought it was over. A bad dream, maybe. But when I turned on the TV, the screen flickered, and for a split second, I saw them. Their shapes burned into the static, watching. I moved out of that apartment the same day, but it didn't help. The hum followed me. It's quieter now, but it's still there, waiting, lurking in the silence. I've stopped using mirrors. They're the worst. That's where they come closest. If you're reading this, I need you to listen carefully. If you ever hear the hum, don't acknowledge it. Don't try to understand it. Don't listen too closely. Because once you notice them, they notice you. And once they see you, they never look away.